keep clapping, y'all. The one and only
That's quite enough.
This is amazing. Get comfy. Get cozy. I know these are a little high. Got to climb a little bit. That's water if you want it. We can spike it with something if you want. Yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing. Richard Dreyfuss. All right, this is amazing. A legend before us. This is so exciting to have you here. As you know, I don't know what just happened either. A gentleman just came out and sort of tickled your feet and ran away, and we are all pretending like it didn't just happen. Okay. Wow. Hello, I'm so excited to be sitting next to you right now.
Hi.
We have such a unique opportunity today because of the strike happening. You know, it prevents us from talking about the usual, which I think is cool. It's kind of a cool moment here because we can talk about some other stuff. Now, acting, though, in general, I want to know, why do we need actors? Why do so many people want to act? Tell me, share your wisdom. Tell us your secrets.
No. I have a question for you.
Okay.
Why do you think that a good hunk of you, perhaps even a majority, really want to be actors? No? No? Really want to be sheriffs in Missouri? Okay. Per diem? Yeah.
Yeah, why would you want to be an actor?
Well, I started acting in it too because I was the only 2-year-old who could memorize lines. And so for the next almost 30 years, I was always involved in some sort of theater and the occasional indie film project. And it's so much, it's just invigorating in a way you can't quite put words to be a part of something, working with people and then see the finished product and how people react to it. It's like giving something instead of taking something.
That's a pretty cool answer.
Yep. Yeah. How best can why is it that actors can become so many different people and you buy it? You buy it. Why do you think that happens? One at a time.
Human. They observe others.
Okay.
They observe others, I heard. That's interesting.
Yeah, they observe, and they observe them in different ways than just, oh, look at what he's doing. Mm-hmm. They think, I don't do it that way. Mm-hmm. Why is he, and why am I watching him so closely?
Yeah, so actors, like so many arts, are observing people and observing the world kind of under a lens, a different lens, really looking closely. And we don't even I didn't even realize when I met you a few minutes ago that you were like probably dissecting my whole personality.
Well, I'm dissecting a lot. Wouldn't be your whole personality, but I do believe that actors have a leg up on everyone else. Because you're not only watching what they do, you're watching what they don't know they're doing. And you can play guys like Dick Cheney or Adolf Hitler and say, I got Dick Cheney in me already. And all you got to do is be honest about it, and you can find him in a second. You know, a manipulative, brilliant guy who's going to make sure that the blame at the end of the day does not land at his feet. Okay? So we now run this country. by people who just happen not to accept the blame for anything. And that's pretty good. You know, you learn that at your mother's knee. So...
Well, that's an interesting answer, and I heard a couple of people kind of yell that out as well, the human part of it. So what you're saying is you look for those human connections and go, I can understand how this person ticks. And you have to, right, to be able to play that role in so many different characters. Now, there are actors out there who, when you see them in different roles, they are kind of still just playing themselves and just sort of reading lines.
Or
And
it looks like they're playing themselves.
Right, yeah, and they can get away with that, certain people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And that means a whole bunch of weird stuff. Like Dick Cheney is definitively responsible for a whole list of things that would normally send most people to hell. And they send him to Wyoming. And after a while, you begin to say, what is it that they have this power to avoid accountability? I don't know what it is, but it's there. And they can take a whole country and have that country be confused and accept definitions of words that they've never accepted before. But they'll do it now to avoid paying taxes or avoid going down in the history books as a schmuck, which is a very good history book name. And I think that that's very exciting. I really do. I think that you should, people who work in the motion picture business, they should seek out the opinions of people who write scripts and such, because we avoid blame like I avoid the sun. The sun hurts me. So take a look at how many people really are taking responsibility or accountability for the things that they're doing. You know it. And they go, who, me? Who, what? What, the bloody knife in my hand? Nah. And yet you buy it.
I love the way you look at the world. Now, I'm listening to you talk about this, and I'm wondering, what kind of a child were you?
Much shorter.
Just a smaller version of exactly what we're hearing right now. I'm picturing a curious little boy and someone who looks at the world with a lot of wonder and sort of inspects people. When did you get the acting bug?
When I realized that the questions that I was asking my friends, they were running from the answer, like running from a toxic plague. And literally, that's why it got me excited, because if you're not willing to tell me, who went to school with you, what is it that is so interesting that you don't want to answer, I want to know why it is that we don't want to answer.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I could see you on the playground with other kids, and they're like running around and playing, and you take one aside, and you're just like, I want to know what makes you tick,
Well, you don't do it that openly, but you do it.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
That's
As
the
a matter of
subtext.
fact, I walked into a kind of semi-official reunion of my high school class, and I asked one guy.
When was this?
This was, let's say, if I graduated in 65, I was at this other party in 1970. okay? And I asked some questions, and they all went, but he's doing it again. And I thought, well, I have an identity. I have an identity as the guy who asks the questions that no one else wants to answer. And so I just kept pursuing that.
And you still have that same curiosity today.
Yes.
Now, like I said, this is a unique opportunity today to talk about some things that maybe we don't normally talk about on panels. And I asked backstage if this was okay. I met your amazing wife. Wow, she's super cool. and that's what I would expect, that you would have a super cool wife. Can you tell me a little bit about her? Can we talk about your amazing, tell us. Take a drink. We met backstage. She's from St. Petersburg, Russia. And I really love strong women. And I immediately was like, ooh, I really love this lady. She's such a firecracker and brilliant, of course. And I want to know, when did you meet? Where did you meet? Tell us a little bit. Oh, here, use the mic. Don't forget.
I met her in Boston. She was running the Marriott hotel chain. And
of course, she's going to be running things.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's got 3 master's degrees.
Yep, and she'll be the first one to tell you. And you want her to tell you because you're so proud of her.
I know.
And, but she's so not American. She's very different than we are. And that's not, I'm not saying something secretly prideful. I'm saying we should be more like her.
Yeah.
And
especially women. She said, instantly I met her and I'm like, wow, this is the boss right here. She just came out instantly I was like, oh, I want to hear all your stories. Talk about picking apart personalities. I was like, oh, makes sense. I can see why you two are together, okay? But tell me more about, okay, so you met in Boston and she was running a Marriott.
Yeah, she was running a lot of Marriotts.
Yeah.
And Mr. Marriott said, Stella, what are you doing? He's an actor. And she said, but I love him. That means? You know what this means? You know what that means? I do. Anyway, she's got wisdom and she's got brains and she has no fear, very little fear, and we were walking down a street in London one night, and we were talking politics or geopolitics, and all of a sudden I realized that she knew what the hell she was talking about. I didn't, and I was making it up as I went along, and she was not.
Yeah.
And she was smarter than hell. And I thought, I better stick with her because I want to be on the side of the angels. So that's
Get
why
yourself
we're
a
together.
man who will say that about you, huh? That's beautiful.
Well, it's true. It's true.
I could tell in the moments meeting you two. It's really beautiful. And you can tell she'll just kick anyone's ass for you, too.
Once said,
Tell us the tea.
She has taken some members of my family completely apart.
Oh, yeah?
So that they have to
so
be...
this is interesting. So she takes people apart as well? Or do you mean she literally took body parts off?
Oh, she has to... When you're finished being questioned by my wife, you have to be sent home in separate FedEx packages. And I'm not kidding.
I see her right now laughing, and this is great.
And what? I'll know when it's time. Because once she takes over completely. And she's worth it. You know, she's just worth it. She's got value that just seeps out of her pores. And you do not want her to dislike you. Trust me on this one. And she's great. She's just great. And I'm the luckiest guy here.
Yeah. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I mean, you have a very big, strong personality, so I would expect nothing less than finding a partner that you can spar with. You know, it'll put you in your place, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not
And
easy to
also
find.
because before I met her, her nickname professionally was Ice Queen.
Ice Queen, yes.
Or German Shepherd.
But she's
And
Russian.
Yes.
Yes.
And both of them meant exactly what you think they mean. And the idea that someone might think, well, she's a woman, I don't have to pay attention to her. People have lost limbs at that, and it's fun to watch, It's really fun because I have a sister who's always patronizing me. And
Older or younger?
Younger.
Okay.
And so...
Do you have a good relationship with this sister?
I'm sorry?
Do you have a good relationship with your siblings?
No.
No, okay. That's what I was curious. I wanted the dynamics of this a little, okay.
Nope. And, but we all went out together one night, and my sister patronized me. She loves to patronize people. And she's also a brilliant lawyer and the head of the legal defense office for the indigent and all this. And she said something, and I was telling her the story of how we met. And she went, I don't want to hear the dirty parts. I don't want to hear the dirty parts. And my wife leaned forward very slowly, and she said, you are a very little person. You are filled with envy and bitterness. And I'm going, oh, thank you for letting me be here. And she nailed my sister to the wall. And she wasn't wrong at all, not once.
Well, how interesting, because that's exactly what you were saying that you do and that you've done since you're a little boy, is that kind of sizing up a person, yeah?
In a way.
In her own way.
Sometimes the people that I'm with, I have no reason to oppose, But sometimes you do, and you should. And opposing people who, when they speak, make themselves more stupid is a good thing to do. It's a good exercise, and it keeps you fit. It's like a good diet. And we in this country make oodles of money on crap and garbage, and we all know it.
Yep.
And she doesn't accept that. So if you ever really want to get into it, say something really dumb, like we have a great capitalist system, and she'll eat you. And I'll eat you. So that's the fun part. Yeah.
Now, she told me she's from St. Petersburg and goes back and visits family and whatnot. Have you been?
Yes.
And I've gotten to visit a couple times myself. Doesn't matter why, but I was there for some things with my partner, and I can't believe how different the culture is. So what do you think about the Russian culture and just how different it is from the United States? Because I've noticed in movies that we always make Russians like the villain in our movies, right?
Duh.
Yeah. Let's talk
Don't
about
we
this.
all, though? Yes, we do. And that in itself is a real good hint that we're idiots. Because they're not stupid, and yet we just call them stupid. And we take advantage, let's say, of certain situations, and when we say to them, you took advantage of us the other day, and we say, oh, no, we did not. We wouldn't do that to you guys. We're Russian, and you're American, and we run the world. And don't interrupt me. And I swear, after a while, you just want to bop someone in the face. They're so stupid. And I do. But I don't, because they could probably end up being smarter than me. And I would hate that. But we both come from, at different times and different centuries, we both are descended from Russians. And I said to her one night, no Russian would ever call a Russian Jew a Russian. They would always call them Jews. And she said, oh, that's foolish. That's silly. Of course they would. They're citizens. They're like everybody else, and they run the country, and they run this, and they run that. And a friend of hers came from the ballet world in Moscow and said at some point in the evening, well, Richard's not Russian, he's Jewish. I looked at her and I went, nah, 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 nah. But we talk about what makes us different from one another all the time, which is a pretty useless exercise. Yeah. It doesn't gain us anything. And so.
But again, talking about the human condition and taking people apart, and you can find those common threads, but from culture to culture, certainly, it is incredible the different. One of the things I recall is I'm a very smiley person, and in Russian culture, not so much. You're smiling at strangers, and they're like, "What is she up to?" It's very suspicious. Yeah. I find that fascinating.
Well, it's because if you're not smiling, that means you're dissatisfied. And if you're
just living your life.
You could easily get hurt.
Yeah.
And if you get hurt that easily, the people who are running that country say, that's a vulnerability. We don't want that. Let's get rid of them. And they do. They like to act on their impulse. But a white Russian...
A white Russian or a person?
My wife is a white Russian.
Okay.
And on the night that we were talking, and she said, I don't want to hear the dirty parts. All that. It's so easy to talk about what makes us different, and it's so hard to find the things that make us similar and bring us together. And I'll tell you now, I'm on a mission. And I've written a book, which is a bestseller, and it's about the fact that we just dribble mouth all the time while we take advantage of how much we know more than they do. And I think
What's
it's
the name
silly.
of your book? Let's plug it. Let's talk about your book.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Good idea.
We
The
can
name
talk
of my
about the
book is called One Thought Scares Me. And it goes on to say, we teach our children what we wish them to know. We don't teach our children what we don't wish them to know. And guess what? In the last 50 years, we have stopped teaching history. We have stopped teaching the Constitution. We have stopped teaching the amendments. We have stopped teaching the punishments that would be appropriate. And we have stopped teaching anything that makes any logic or sense. And that's why we now have a series of presidents and senators and all that, and judges who reek of blatant greed and stupidity. And they are just hoping and I don't care whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, you want to take advantage of everybody else, especially the Russians, and we love to lie about it all. And so you check it out and find out about things like the law that was recently passed through the Supreme Court that said, well, you can actually give a lot of money to the candidate of your choice. As a matter of fact, an unlimited amount of money. And as a matter of fact, an unlimited amount of money from an anonymous source.
Whoa.
So you can't know who is funding your politics. And I say, that's about as evil and dumb as I could possibly conceive. And if you don't think that that's wrong, you're crazy. And you're sending your children to a system that is just walking all over you. So don't let that happen. Read my book. Yeah, read my book.
Tell us the name again.
It's a non-profit, okay?
Oh.
It's called One Thought Scares Me.
One Thought Scares Me.
We teach our children what we wish them to know. We don't teach our children what we don't wish them to know. So what did we cut? Civics, how to learn politics, what the Constitution says, and how you can have freedom of speech only if you're rich, which sucks. And then I come here and we all laugh together.
Thank goodness. We need to laugh a little. Heavy stuff happening out there, and you're not wrong. I used to be a teacher, by the way, and having gone through the public school system here in America, I'm listening to you, and I'm going, yeah, you're right. They didn't teach that. They didn't teach that. And also, I'm like, but what did they teach? I don't even know. You know, it's like we just are sort of shuffled through the system, and even as a teacher, you know,
And
we're
also,
not teaching our kids.
Excuse me. when you take a class in a public school system, you have no way of knowing whether that's a complete lie or just parts of a lie. No textbooks are written without any. No, we don't do that. We don't do that. But what we do is make sure that you don't ask questions, and if you do, you're mocked. And those are the things that we forget that at the time of the revolution, we were known as the country that wanted participatory citizenship. We wanted our people to be smart and to be smarter than other countries. And we got rid of monarchy and we got rid of aristocracy. Did it do us any good? No, we replaced it with other monarchs and other aristocrats. And we had been fighting the interest of money since the beginning. And now we fight the interest of money and then we forgive it the next minute. And watch how we just let people off the hook. That's our new habit. That's only 50 years old, by the way. Before that, everyone learned. And now, nobody learns.
What's the answer to this?
Get people pissed off and take over the system. And I don't mean, like take over the system like with guns. I mean,
With
get
books,
angry.
Read.
Yeah.
Education.
Yeah. Go down to your school board and say, why was this done in secret? The first revolution wasn't in secret. Everyone in the world knew that we were doing it. And now, when was it taken away? 50 years ago, really. 50 years ago, we stopped teaching government, history, English. We stopped teaching all that stuff 50 years ago. And I say, you either think of history as a workshop for comedy, or you sharpen your axe and you get ready to draw some blood, because it's a theft. You've just been hit over the head and no one's told you why, and you are now a sailor in Her Majesty's Navy, and you have no recourse at all. And I'm telling you, that sucks when it comes to basic fairness.
And then it's like, Hoover,
What?
slow ahead.
Can't hear you, pal.
That's okay. I heard of it. It's okay. Thank you, but we can't talk about that. He was quoting a movie that we can't talk about right now. But this conversation we're having. You're so much more than an actor. How the hell did you become an actor? How are you not a college professor?
Well, first of all,
Let's go there. Come on. Let's talk about this.
First of all, I can say with some pride that my great aunt assassinated Tsar Alexander in 1881.
Wait, what?
Yep. I like it so much, I'm going to say it again. My great aunt, Elsia Helfman, was a member of a group called the Narodnaya Volnya, the will of the people. And she popped the Tsar in 1881. And She was with Nikolai Lenin's brother, Alexander, and everyone got killed right away. Everyone, except the Jewish girl. The Jewish girl got off with, I don't know what, and she was pregnant, and they didn't kill pregnant women. So she was exiled to New York, which is kind of like being killed.
That's a great place to be exiled.
So I just thought it was a great beginning to our lives in the new world.
Wow. That's epic. That is really, really epic. So you have some pretty big shoes to fill, and I think that you've been doing it over the years. Of course, so many projects that we all love that we know you from. And this conversation is so cool, and I can't wait to read this book as well, because I love the way you do take apart our structure and people in the human condition. I think it's awesome. And going back to that little boy in the playground asking a lot of questions, what was the first thing that you acted in, assuming it's not a SAG project? I'm picturing you in like an awesome little school play or something like, was it something like that?
Yes, it was all, stories from the Bible, but they were all very political,
Really?
Like we were stealing from the rich and giving to the poor.
Were you Robin Hood?
I was Robininsky. But it's really, you do learn that giving is much more fun than getting.
Yeah.
And you also learn that sounds like a shuck. It sounds like a phony thing to say. And maybe it is. I don't think so. But I think that's why the world is what it is.
Well, it's a bit of a paradox, I think. Giving is better than receiving. But when you give, you are receiving joy and gratitude, and so you are getting something out of. Yeah.
And I have learned that I can still learn. And that's unlimited.
Yes, it is. I mean, we can always still learn, and I think that's what keeps you young too.
Well, if it doesn't, you're wasting your time.
This is amazing.
I feel like the whole thing is an adventure. And if I was not an actor, I would be a high school history teacher.
That's what I was going to say, for sure.
Yeah.
You'd be everybody's favorite teacher.
Well. But
or most feared teacher,
I
yeah?
would say I would be...
You'd be tough.
I'd be fair.
Tough but fair.
And I say things like, there's no such thing as one great history book. There's always at least two. And how many people here have the same politics as their parents? Let's just try it out here. How many people here have the same politics as their parents? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
Mattering.
And even the person with the funny little sheep.
Maybe about
thing
10%, perhaps. They're admitting. Maybe people are pondering it now.
Well, I find it fascinating because I had the same politics as my parents, and they were communists.
No.
And I would say to my mother, why were you a socialist and not a communist? And she said, better donuts.
Better donuts.
Better donuts.
I guess that's a good reason to do just about anything.
I think it is. That's a piece of wisdom.
There you go.
That's great. And there's all kinds of examples of things like that. And so what? Because people either behave as if they can't admit that they don't know something, Isn't it funny that when you grow up and you tell your children how to behave, you tell them always cop to the truth and don't fuck around about it. If you don't know, you don't know. How many parents lie about that? Everyone, all of us, we just do. And it's crazy. And there was this guy, Jesus of Nazareth, and
Never heard of him.
he's a very important guy.
I have
Oh,
heard
yeah. Boo, big guy.
Big guy, yeah.
And if you asked him, he would say, I don't know what's so big about me.
Yeah.
Well, you're the son of... Kurt Vonnegut said the mistake that Christians make is that we all say Jesus was the Son of God, and that really pisses God off. And I say that what he should have said is, it's not that he's my son, he's someone's son, anyone's son, and he's being treated pretty badly.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter anything else about him. And think about that. I think that's profound because you shouldn't treat anyone as badly as that. Because how many of you saw Mel Gibson's film, Passion of Christ? Great movie, scary, great. And wow, he showed what we do to some guy, and we say that he's getting that treatment because he's the Son of God. He's getting that treatment because he's a human being, and we do that to everybody. That's terrifying. That's just terrifying. But they make a good comedy audience.
It brings it back around to exactly how we started, huh? Picking apart that human condition, the stuff that connects us. You've given us a lot of pearls of wisdom today. Would you like to leave us all with one little pearl out there? You can tell everyone right now. We've got an audience.
If you find a pearl out there, return it to me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Richard Dreyfuss.